All right, here we go. Instagram good. Stay inside. Where we're in 95. If you go outside because it's smoky. Oh boy, it's smoky. Holy moly, these wildfires are affecting the entire province. How's it going, everybody? Welcome to episode 4 of the Squeak Stream. This is a podcast that I do very infrequently. I am doing my best to do more. I've just been hella busy with stuff going on. I quite literally just wrapped up an interview with the Windsor Star just now. Shout out to them. Shout out to Sarah for reaching out to me. And the reason being so is that I had a meeting last month with a few of the councilors, the city councilors here in the great city of Windsor, with Mr. Ronaldo Agostino, Kieran McKenzie, and Councillor Fraser Fathers, because I wanted to raise some concerns with them. You guys know me. I'm not a political guy. That's not my style of comedy. That's not what I'm here to do. I don't give a shit who you vote for. You can vote for whoever you want. Oh, good. It's past the minutes, and I can swear on YouTube. What's up, Tara? How you doing? Give you a wave. Anybody else that wants to join, feel free to join. But most of us, even if you work outside today, my heart goes out to you because it is just absolutely horrendous outside. It does look a bit like Stranger Things, like when the Mind Flare was about to appear, or if you remember the Beijing Olympics. There were aerial views from the Olympics that year, and it looks just like that outside. So, first things first, prayers to everybody. Shout out to everybody that's affected by this. I hope you get through this. Absolutely horrendous. But getting back to my initial thought, because I only have so much time, the photographer from the Windsor Star is coming by soon to take pictures of me for the article. So that's going to be a lot of fun. Basically, I met with a few of these said counselors, with Ronaldo, Kieran, and Fraser. I've known Ronaldo for quite a bit. I consider him a friend. He's always been very generous and gracious to me. The reason why we had the meeting is because not just in the province, there's been a lot of funding cuts to social services and things that very much affect the community. So, my social worker slash therapist, who I'd been seeing for 5+ years, and without her, shout out to her, I won't name names just for confidentiality, but without this person, I would not be the man that you see before me. The pandemic affected a lot of people. I just moved into this lovely apartment that I'm in right now, and I was struggling, just like so many people out there. So she very much helped me. She is and was a great listener. Changed my life for the better. Very much changed my life. So the fact that she was taken away from myself and countless others, because my building is not just one building that she services. She services numerous other buildings throughout the community. So I wanted to bring this up to Ronaldo and the other counselors' attention. And then out of that conversation, we sprung onto another topic, the topic of accessible transit and accessible taxis in Windsor. And I just basically was blunt with him. I told him from the horse's mouth exactly what's been going on. Is this even working? I don't know if this is even working. Okay, never mind, it's working. I'm just a boomer when it comes to YouTube. I hope this. But anyway, so I basically just gave him my 2 cents when it comes to my experiences with accessible transit and with accessible taxis that I experienced here in Windsor. I've had some other issues when I've been to other cities throughout our great country, a little bit in the States too, but I primarily carpool with other, friends and comedians over there. So I didn't expect much out of the meeting. Again, I've known Ronaldo for quite a bit. He's always been great to me. I think he's a good dude overall. He's one of the few counselors, aside from Kieran and a couple of them, that are actually trying to impact change and make positive change within the community. Because let's be straight up, if some of you guys are watching this later, and if you're from Windsor, you look at pictures of our city from X amount of years ago, even the 70s and even the early 90s and like early to mid 2000s, it looks like an entirely different city. Like my grandmother and my great grandmothers and my ancestors that came before me, they quite literally said you could go to the Detroit River and see pebbles in the river. Now all you see is biohazards and, a bunch of junk down there, people fleeing and whatever remains there are of like prohibition or some maybe parts of the bridge that have fallen off, this, that, and the other. So I just wanted to explain my perspective. And I basically told them, I was like, you think we have a homeless crisis now? You think we have issues with addiction, with housing, with people overdosing, and things of that nature? It's going to get exponentially worse by cutting my social worker slash therapist job and people like her. Um, I just think our priorities are ass backwards. You know, as a city, we could go deep into the country part, but again, I'm not political, and I really, frankly, don't care to harp on about that and tell you how to vote. I'm just telling you, from my perspective, I shared some stories with the counselors about numerous times that I've been stranded, numerous times when I've just tried to do shows. And here's the thing, you guys, what I think is the most rewarding about being an entertainer and being a comedian is I never thought I would ever make money doing this. The fact that I'm even making slightly the amount of money that I'm doing now, and even then, it's not great. Canadian show business is not exactly, you're not exactly swimming in a pot of gold, to quote Scrooge McDuck. But from where I was at and for where I'm at now, and the fact that I can help others and bring others on the road with me, and give them something to compensate at least for the gas and for their time on stage means a lot to me. So after shows, I love communicating with people. I love talking with people that came to watch the show. I'd like to hear their opinions on stuff. Some more warranted than others, and the people that aren't going to like it just aren't going to like it. I'm not for everybody, but hopefully I book somebody on that show that you did like, and that we can all kind of find some common ground per se. So I essentially shared many, many stories to the city councilors about the numerous times that I've been left at a venue or been stranded there for countless hours, and I haven't been able to go home until the wee hours of the morning. I used to do a show on the east side of town, and there were many, many times where I'd be stuck there. Shout out Lions Head, where I'd be stuck there having to chill with the wait staff and the bar staff until my ride showed up. It sounds like a minor inconvenience, but I want to bring up something that Ronaldo spoke on at the meeting, because to me this was very profound, and I'm actually glad that he mentioned this. And I mentioned it too in the article for the Windsor Star. It was about, it's not about being able to get to your appointments, to get to your job, and this, that, and the other, to do occupational stuff. It's, we can handle that. It's about the quality of life. Like, people with mobility issues and with disabilities, whatever the case they may be, we just want the option to live a normal life, to have a quality of life. You know what I mean? Because my job is unconventional. Comedy is my job basically now. You know what I'm saying? Like, I've applied for numerous other jobs and never gotten a response back. I mean, that's really a millennial problem too, in a sense. We apply for all these jobs. We were told that we were going to get this and that and the other if we go to school, get our degree, play by all the rules, do this, that, and the other. And then you go on Indeed, you like make a profile on Indeed or whatever company you're applying for, and then they say, "Oh, we'll call you back." And even if you get a follow up interview, very rarely will you get a call back unless you're super duper qualified for something. They will not really hire you. I've noticed it's happened to a lot of my friends and stuff, and especially being from Windsor in a labor market, with automation coming and a lot of other things coming down the pipe when it comes to technological innovation. People are struggling. People are hurting for work. And so that's why when I do my shows, I want to give the best I can to you guys. And even on these podcasts, I want to give the best I can for you. I want to give all of you, because I know it's not easy to take time out of your schedule to come and see me or whichever comic you want to see. Um, it's quite an inconvenience, to be honest with you. Even when I did the comedy at the Concrete Festival, shout out to CJ Irwin and Curtis for putting me on. It sucks that the equipment got stolen. So basically, they wanted to do a show in a parking lot on the Glacier Street parking garage, and in typical Windsor fashion, within an hour, somebody let somebody in. I don't know the details or logistics of the situation, but some equipment got stolen. Some shit done went missing. So they had to buy whole new equipment. Thank goodness, Long and McQuaid and some other music shops were open to replace the microphone and some of the sound system and whatever was confiscated. We were still able to do the festival, and the festival was great. It was fun when it happened. I typically I have strong opinions about doing outdoor shows as a comic, especially with what we do. It's not like music, but I had a great time there. But irregardless, if I did not live as close as I did to that place, and if I did not I could not get myself home that night, I would be stranded. And that's an issue that myself and countless others with mobility issues have had to experience. Unfortunately, in Windsor, because we do not have a lot of competition and a lot of access when it comes to accessible transit. You have Handy Transit, you have Transit Windsor, shout out to them, because all of their buses are accessible. And for the most part, they have good drivers that accommodate everybody's needs. I got a few friends who are employees there, so shouts out to them. Um, but uh, there's not a lot of parity. There's not a lot of options when it comes to accessible taxis in Windsor. So the topic came up. I brought it to their attention. Ronaldo was baffled when I gave him some of the stories and when I told him some of the stories that I told him. Because you guys, just to give you some idea, this is decades and decades and like years worth of horrible experiences that I've had. And I'm not, again, I want to emphasize this. I don't want to throw anybody under the bus. You know, the individuals I don't have an issue with. It's the lack of funding, it's the lack of awareness, and I hate that I'm the guy to do this. I tell dick jokes to drunk strangers in a dark ass crummy bar for sometimes a living. You know, I should be the last person that you come to when it comes to advocacy and accessibility issues and this and that. But when I was a little boy, my mom said, David, you got to be your own advocate. And I just kind of thought she was talking shit. I didn't really understand exactly the magnitude of what she was saying to me. Because to me, either you are or you aren't. And I don't want to speak for other people with disabilities. You know, I will say like there's varying degrees of people, of myself and like with my condition and people that have numerous other conditions. And some of us are very timid and shy people who don't want to rock the boat. You're just kind of going with the flow, you know. And a lot of us stay home. A lot of us don't go out and get to experience the fun parts of life, like going to a bar, meeting people, spontaneously being able to jump into a car and being able to take a road trip or going wherever the hell you want, unless you have an accessible vehicle, unless you've coordinated transportation ahead of time. It's a real pain in the neck. It's a real pain in the neck for me to organize things with friends. Numerous trips, even on dates sometimes. Like I have to pick places that I know are accessible or that don't have a plethora of stairs to get down. And that's the thing. Like even when I do a lot of comedy clubs and a lot of open mics, most comedy clubs are not accessible. So I have to get carried up, and I joke about my act. I have to get carried into bars, these bars with stairs, the same way people get kicked out, you know, by the bouncer of my feet dragging, and then I go on and on and on. You have to either watch the clip on my page or you know, come see a show. But myself, I'm lucky in the sense that I'm able to walk a little bit, and I can do a lot for myself. And so many people that are in the situation cannot. So when he came, when the counselors came and we spoke, I felt very compelled. Um, sorry, my phone went off. I just want to check. The photographer's coming at 2, so I only got so much time. I'll even do a follow up after this. What was I talking about? Oh yeah. So many of people in our situation don't have the advocacy. They don't have people in their life that can advocate for them if they can't do it for themselves. And they have way less mobility than me. You know, my business partner, one of my best friends, Christian, um, came down here many times, you know, when we've done shows at Lions Head and numerous other venues here. And there was quite literally one accessible taxi working that night. And so I had to wait with him for hours and hours after the show had concluded because he can only fit one chair in the taxi. So he couldn't bring his fiance with him. He couldn't bring other friends if they had chairs or mobility devices in the taxi with him. So to say it's an inconvenience, guys, is an understatement. Like we take so much of this shit for granted. I'm not trying to get on my small soapbox and say, "Woe is me," and like I got it so bad. Like I'm in a great country for the most part. If you live in the Western world, you're within the top 1% of the world because most of the world doesn't have electricity, indoor plumbing, or running water, or clean water for that matter. So the fact that I was born here in this time is nothing short of a miracle, and I'm sure others can attest to this. But it's still not acceptable in 2026 that I can't be out somewhere And especially like if it's not like the wee hours of the night, say it's like 11 or 10 o'clock at night, um, I should be able to call a taxi and get home safely, especially if there's alcohol involved. You know what I mean? The last thing you want is me driving this chair drunk. You know, wink, wink, nudge, nudge. I've never done that before, but you know what I mean. Uh, it creates a precedent that you should never have to experience when, especially as a city, when we have so much funding that we accumulate. To me, in just the wrong areas. Like, I live downtown. I get South Windsor has a lot of, tax credits and breaks and budget cuts. Like I got family out there, and it's they have some beautiful areas, but you gotta look at the city as a whole, man. Like a downtown in a city should be the driving force, or one of the driving forces behind the economy. And our downtown just is not, man. It's just not. It is a cesspool. I hate to say it. There's a few places I love going down here, but it is fucking brutal, man. Like, and it doesn't have to be this way. That's the most disheartening part. Like, I wanted to express to Ronaldo and Frazier and Kieran that I think that there's some area of improvement here that we can have. There's no reason why in 2026 uh, somebody can't get a taxi or somebody should feel stranded, especially when the weather changes and we start going into winter, because that's when you're really going to start seeing more and more issues like this. You know, um, again, I do my due diligence. I can't speak for others, but I myself want to plan ahead of time. I plan ahead of time because I want to make it to my gigs. I respect my audience. I respect all you guys that come to the shows, and even the ones that don't and say you are. You watch my stuff online. I can't thank you enough for that. And even today, when I was speaking to the reporter from the Windsor Star, I wanted to emphasize with her, and shout out to Sarah. I never want to throw anybody under the bus. I just want to express my displeasure, my disappointment, and the issues that are arising that don't have to be issues. They don't have to be issues, man. We waste so much money on so much stupid shit. It just doesn't have to be like that. So that's basically what the interview was about. Um, and that's basically like when he posted the clip and he tagged me in that. I got a bunch of messages from some of you guys on here, definitely on my Facebook, a little bit on Instagram too, just like saying thank you for that. So I'm not trying to glaze myself in any way, shape, or form, but if somebody has to do it, I guess I'll do it. I guess I'll do it. I don't want to, but whatever. Um, other than that, I'm trying to think. I've just been really, really busy, guys. I want to do one episode where I read my camp journal because I was at my old house and my mom was there and we were going through some family heirlooms and some stuff from my past. And I dug up one of my camp journals from when I was at Wood Eden. It's a camp for kids with disabilities in London, Ontario, or just outside of London, Ontario. So I wrote quite a few journal entries, and it was a trip down memory lane reading some of these. I feel like I was a different person back then, which I was. I was a teenager. So I want to do one episode where I bring Christian on and we both read our journals and we just kind of talk about comedy, shoot the shit, and kind of like our process and how we met and things like that. But that's for another day. Um, some of the stories I shared too with Sarah were not even from here. I have a story about when I was in Oshawa. I was doing an open mic out there for whatever reason. I just wanted stage time at that point. This is, I want to say, 15 or 16 years ago. I think going on 16 years ago. I do the show, and no disrespect to Oshawa, I'm sure it's a fine city, but their downtown is dreary and creepy. Oh boy, it's so scary. It makes Gotham City look like Honolulu, Hawaii, bro. It's so scary at night there. So thankfully the venue is not far away from the Go Bus station, and I wrap up with my set. I shoot the shit with some of the comics, and I wheel down to the bus station. And as I wheel down to the bus station, I go talk to the driver. And I'm like, hey, I'm trying to get this bus back to Scarborough. That's where I was staying at the time. And the guy says, he was this Eastern European heavy set dude. He almost looked like, you're really going to make me get out, bro? You're really going to make me get out? Like as if like my life and me getting on the bus is such an inconvenience to him. It's like, I didn't make you a bus driver, dude, and I didn't put you in this predicament, you know? So he just kind of gave me that look where he's like, oh, like I have to. So when he gets out, I could just tell this dude was looking for an excuse to just not take me on the bus. Like, I don't know whether he had a bad experience with people in chairs, or he just is lazy, or he just, I don't know, whatever. F this guy. This guy sucks. But all he had to do was back up not even 5 feet to deploy the ramp. He didn't want to do that. He's like, I can't do it. The angle's not right. I can't do it. I can't do it. It's like, sorry. I was like, but are you though? Are you sorry? Like, when I say the dude left me here, he couldn't have gotten out of that bus station, that parking garage quick enough, man. So instead, I had to call a taxi service, a nearby taxi service, and I had to pay close to $100, which it would have been a $10 ride on the Go bus. I basically had to pay triple or 4 times the amount just to get home from a gig that I wasn't getting paid to do. And it's one of the sacrifices of being a comic that a lot of people don't tell you when you start is that this lifestyle is not glamorous. It's not what you see on TV. It's not Just for Laughs or Netflix or Kill Tony or this and that. Like, there's a lot of lonely nights. There's a lot of BS that you have to deal with. There's a lot of crappy audiences. The pay sucks. You deal with a lot of weirdos. You deal with some weird comments, and mentally, physically, and emotionally, it can drain you. But I told this to Sarah because it's not her world. The reporter from the Windsor Star, to give you some context, and I basically just expressed her. She's like, "Does that ever get to you? Does that ever make you not want to do shows?" And I said, "For all the nonsense that you have to put up with, being a comic and just with this lifestyle, what makes it worth it is if you can make the people laugh, if you get paid, and you do the work during the day so you can collect the check at night." I think that's a Seinfeld quote. I don't know. Christian told me that, but also Seinfeld. Oh my God, this. He did date a 17-year-old back in the day. I'm just saying, don't flag me for that, YouTube. It's just, it's just a fact. I don't hate Seinfeld, but essentially, you do the work during the day so you can reap the benefits at night. And for as great of a country as Canada is and all the progress that we've made, there's still a lot of places and venues and buildings that are not accessible. And it's a real pain in the neck as a person with a disability who can coordinate that, who can figure that out, but still has an issue navigating those parameters. So I just basically expressed to the counselors, why make it more difficult? Why make it more difficult if we don't have to? And I hope when this article comes out, it shines a light on that, and that people like myself and others can at least say, at least somebody's talking about it. At least we're spreading awareness. Because I looked at some of the comments online. Some of y'all are pessimistic MFers. I'm saying it's. I love Windsor, but we got to stop shitting on ourselves, man. Like, well, this will never get done. It's election year, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, that's exactly the attitude in terms of why shit doesn't get done here, in terms of why our economy is in the toilet. Like, part of it's the tariffs, part of it's automation, sure, this and that, but we got to see the possibilities and not just shitting on our city, because you know what? I used to do that, but I also have to live here. Some of us still have to live here. So why not make the best of it? Why sit here and go, woe is me, and not offer any solutions, or at least try and point us in a more positive direction. So my hope for this meeting was that we got something done. We spread some awareness, and I'm not going to stop doing this, guys. I'm not going to stop getting on my very, very small soapbox to beat this drum until something gets done, because I'm sick of this shit. I got to be real. I'm absolutely sick of this. I want the same life that a lot of other people could have. I know that it's unconventional and this and that, and this is a bit more of a serious podcast than what you guys are used to if you've seen some of my clips or some other clips that I used to do with Maxine X, my former co-host for X Marks the Thought, my other podcast. You can check that out on YouTube if you want. Some of the episodes are still up. Some got flagged because we talked about some naughty things. And I think there's one with literally a dildo in the back, so that might have been why. But I just hope that this kind of highlights the trials and tribulations that people with disabilities have to go through in a first world country. And we shouldn't have to. And I wouldn't be talking about this unless not only it affects me, who gives a shit about me, I want others to have the opportunity to pursue whatever they want to pursue. You know, our ancestors and whoever came to this country, mine a little different because it's black and slavery and stuff. But if you immigrated to this country, or if you came to this country, you wanted to pursue a livelihood and happiness. That's Americans, but also Canada too. We want equality and we want opportunity. And again, like Ronaldo said, it's about quality of life. That's the only thing I express. So um, I think it's about 2 o'clock, so the photographer is going to be here fairly soon. So I'm just going to rattle off some dates, and then I might come on later just to talk more to you guys because I love shooting the shit with y'all. I really enjoy you guys, very much so. I will try and do this more often. It's hard to fill an hour, and sometimes I don't have that much to talk about. But even if it's 20 minutes, it's fun just to kind of jump on and wave to you guys on Instagram and interact. So next few shows I have coming up are July the 31st. I am in Chatham, Ontario at the Jazz Bar. It is my boy Christian Picard's birthday. So if you're in the Chatham, Kent area, come on out to that. I'm going to headline that. And we're going to celebrate my crippled compadre's birthday. He is a fantastic person, one of the best people I know, one of my good friends. So come out and celebrate his birthday, July the 31st. I believe tickets are $12 online and $15 at the door. Look up the Break a Leg comedy circuit. So it's Break a Leg. You can find him on Instagram and Facebook. And then the very next day, August the 1st, I am here in Windsor, back at Windsor Laughs at the Tipsy Toucan, the basement of the Tipsy Toucan, 1444 Ottawa Street. We're doing a summer showcase that will start at 8 p.m. I think I'm doing a spot on that. I'm not sure how long, but come out and check that out. We got some great local comics and some other people that are pulling up. August the 14th, another Break a Leg show here in Windsor at the Shadow Box Theater. That is off of, I believe, Shepherd and Howard Avenue. It's a small black box theater. Another Break a Leg show of myself and Christian. My boy Mike Percy from around London. Josh Camello is going to be doing that as well. Another great local comedian who's really hustling and working his titties off to be funny. That is on August the 14th. I believe that is at 8 o'clock as well. I will post some of these links in the description. And then August 22nd, we are back at Villains Bistro for the super villains of comedy at one of my favorite, if not my favorite bar in town. Villains is stupendous. I gave them a shout out in the article as well. Shout out Costa, Jeff, Sweet Tea, all the people that keep the lights on there. It is a sanctuary in Windsor, and it needs to be protected at all costs because all my favorite friends and all my favorite weirdos go over there, myself included, and it feels like a real community, like anything else I've experienced in town. So yeah, I'm doing that show on the 22nd. September 17th, I'm at St. Clair College. I'm doing a corporate gig there with my boy Steve Appleyard. So come out to that. And then September the 26th, I'm back at Villains for the Super Villains of Comedy. There's going to be some more show dates announced. I'm actually looking to get ordained to be a wedding, to coordinate weddings and host weddings. So I'm going to do that. Hopefully I'll get my license, my full license soon. Knock on wood for all that. Shiznit. And then other than that, I think that's about it, you guys. I will be back later if I have the energy. Stay safe out there. It is crazy. It also kind of looks like if you've ever seen the movie Leaving Las Vegas, it's also a book by Hunter S. Thompson, where the reporter guy is supposed to portray Hunter S. Thompson. He goes to this race. It's almost like a dune buggy race or like a motocross race. And it's so dusty you can barely see in front of you. That's what it looks like outside right now. And to the Americans complaining about this, no, just kidding. But it's a minor inconvenience. They'll be gone within a few days. Mr. Ford, stop cutting them budgets, man. Stop cutting the budgets. You need to cut your belt on your waistline. I miss your brother. Your brother was the reasonable one, and he smoked crack. Oh, boy. Don't demonetize me, YouTube. These are all jokes. These are all jokes. Anyways, I hope you guys have a great rest of your day. Yeah, I'm going to be hanging out this weekend down by the river, too. And then I'll be doing some open mics in the area. Just follow me on here at Dave Squeaky Wheels. And then D Squeaks, or just Dave Squeaky Wheels on Facebook. No TikTok yet. We're figuring that out. But and yeah, some more announcements for shows are coming up. I got a whole lot of cool stuff coming up. So love you guys. Take care. I appreciate all of y'all. Thank you. Mwah. Bye bye.